Everyone Suro Night came, the Surakarta Palace was never absent from holding kiraban ritual of the descendants of the kyai slamet. This ritual is held to ask for blessings and safety and is a form of self-reflection to welcome the new year in the Javanese calendar, which also coincides with the Islamic New Year. It is said that the story the kebo bule was a gift from the region of Ponorogo to Sri Susuhunan Pakubuwono II when he was still reigning at the Surakarta Palace about 5 kilometers to the west of the current palace in Solo City. This buffalo is not an ordinary buffalo. Kebo bule is very sacral and has become one of the most important heirlooms in the Surakarta Palace. Its history is written in some ancient Javanese literature, as stated in the ancient poets Babat Gianti and also Raden Masaid's Babat Sala, who also holds the title Adipati Mangkunagaran I, all of which tell that the ancestors of Kebo bule were Sunan Pakubuwono II's favorite animal. The kebo bule ritual in the evening of one Suro begins with a prayer by the courtiers in front of the Kori Kemandungan Kasunanan Surakarta Hadiningrat Palace. After praying, the courtiers then spread cassava and a sprinkling of 7 flowers to welcome the sacred kebo bule, a descendant of Kyai Slamet. The ritual will begin when the kebo bule wants to walk out of the cage by himself. So if the buffalo does not want to leave the cage, then it is certain that the ritual procession cannot begin. None of the servant or sentono dalam of the Surakarta Palace dare to force the buffalo to walk, considering that the animal is very sacral. The courtiers did not treat the sacral buffalo like an ordinary animal. Instead, they treated him like a prince. After the kebo bule, a descendant of Kyai Slamet, arrived in front of the Kori Kemandungan Palace, the courtiers welcomed him with full respect in the Kejawen style. They do sungkem in front of the sacral buffalo, then drape it with strands of jasmine and cantil flowers. After that, the buffalo is allowed to eat the scattered cassava in front of the Kori Kemandungan Palace. When the kebo bule flock arrived, the atmosphere became even more chaotic. Many residents tried to touch it, hoping to get blessings or just to perpetuate it through their respective devices. The procession guards of the kirab immediately chased away residents who tried to touch the sacral buffalo. Naturally, the kebo bule, friend of the sacral kyai slamet Discan, is known to be very sensitive. It is hoped that the sacral buffalo will not be disturbed by the growth of residents, so they want to walk alone to start the processions of the kirab. Not long after, the group of sacral kebo bule walked by themselves from the front of the Kori Kemandungan outside the complex palace. The walking of the sacral buffalo marks the start of the heirloom procession one Suro Night. Accompanied by a strati or buffalo handler in white clothes, as many as 4 kebo bule descendants of Kyai Slamet led the way of the kirab in the front row. Thousands of residents were seen packed along the road of the kirab on the right and left. There were no flashes of flash and no echoes of human voices. Only the footsteps of the footless parade could be heard. All was silent when the kebo bule parade took place. Behind the sacral buffalo, rows or royal courtiers carry spears and a number of heirloom collection belonging to the Surakarta Palace. Apart from being a ritual to welcome the arrival of the Javanese New Year, the kirab kebo bule on one Suro Night is also a form of respect for the work of Sultan Agung Hanyokrokusumo. At that time, many people in Java still followed the Saka calendar system based on the Hindu religious tradition. Sultan Agung, as the leader of the largest Islamic kingdom in the archipelago at that time, tried to change and convert Hinduism in Java to Islam. One form of Sultan Agung's effort was to change the Saka calendar into the Javanese calendar, which adopted the Komariah calendar, or the calendar in the Islamic calendar based on the cycles of the moon. Uniquely, the Saka year figures were still used and continued not following the Hijriah calculation at that time for reasons of the continuation of the transition from Hinduism to Islam. So that the year at that time 1547 Saka was continued to be Javanese 1547. Until now, every year the tradition of the One Suro Night is always held by the Surakarta Palace and the Yogyakarta Palace as the successor to the Mataram Sultanate. The One Suro Night ritual itself is actually a form of self-reflection to become a better person in the future, accompanied by the hope of blessings from the Creator.